Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Delta Green role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Tonight, we begin a new scenario entitled Extremophilia. It was written by Shane Ivey, and it's part of a collection called A Night at the Opera. Our handler is Lex Hurley, and this is episode 1. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Lex?
Thank you, Tom. Our story is going to begin on a Monday, March 6th, 2017, overlooking a busy gray street in Washington, D.C., seeing the brutalist structure of the FBI headquarters in downtown D.C. Moving in through the hallways, a brusque gentleman moves in between different cubicles, carrying a very thick sealed manila envelope in his hands, walks over to Agent Sansom's desk and says, Sansom, just go ahead, drop that murder case. You have been reassigned, apparently. Whatever it is, I don't know whose elbows you're rubbing. It's over my pay grade. Something codenamed Styrofoam. Sounds fucking made up. But yeah. Do you remember, what's his name? Aubrey?
Aubrey. Yeah, I think so.
All right, yeah, go find him. It's you both a task up on this. Here, this is supposed to be eyes only. It's not my job anymore.
All right.
Let me know when you're back in town.
So what am I supposed to do with this shit?
The fuck should I know? Go talk to whoever named something codenamed Styrofoam.
I'll pass this on to... All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Walk down the thing. Excuse me, are you Ezekiel Aubrey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently we've been assigned together. Maybe in conference room 3.
Sure. Did someone get murdered in a vat of chemical waste or something?
I don't know. We'll find out.
All right. So I'll just grab my things from my desk and head over to the conference room.
So once we get in there, I'll open up the file and
Sure.
lay it out in front of us.
It's a pretty thick manila envelope. Of course, it has that nice big classified stamp on the top of it. And what usually would be a sheaf of papers containing travel budget, instructions, expenses, different contacts in, the papers are all blank. The thick staple up at the top. You pick up the sheaf of papers and just kind of look at it, shake it a little bit, and 2 small pieces of thick paper fall out. One is a characteristically thin rectangle for an opera ticket to Madame Butterfly. The address listed is for 6220 Goddard Drive, Building 192. MO. The other small piece of paper is more square, and it is a receipt for a coat check for 2.
Coat check. Okay. So it looks like we've got something. You like Puccini?
I can't say I've experienced it before, but have you experienced this before?
No. I've always wondered if the name of the opera had something to do with the opera itself, but who knows? We could do some research someday.
And my mistake, it's the showtime is at 12 p.m. sharp.
12 p.m. noon.
12 for tomorrow, March 7th.
All right. Yep. I'd say do whatever arrangements you need. There's no indication of how long the opera is. I doubt that it's 4 hours.
Well, I travel a lot anyway, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Right. See if you can get all unmarked stuff just in case. Get a burner phone. They'll probably provide us with something when we get there. But all right, I'll meet you. You want to use my car or your car?
Your car.
All right. Here's my home address. Meet me there. Yeah, tomorrow around 10.
All right. So I just jotted down the address really fast and give him a nod, and then I head out the door.
Okay.
Oh, then I run back because I forgot my ticket. I grab that and kick off.
Officer Kelly, it's a mundane day in the office, I guess. Just like any other Monday, you happen to get a call that comes over on dispatch. The rest of the officers around are preoccupied. Dispatch comes in asking about a stalled vehicle that is out by mile marker 320 down in Montana. I don't remember where you're from, but that's nearby. You can get up, drive out there. It is an abandoned Nissan Pathfinder. Seems to be relatively new, old plates on it. You can take down the numbers. Inside is a similar manila envelope.
Well, I'll put a glove on and open the door. Grab the envelope and start to unravel it. What's in here?
This only has a single piece of paper in it, and it says, Highline, be at Malmstrom tomorrow, 12 p.m. sharp. Burn this letter.
Oh, hell. Another one of these scenarios. Well, better buck up.
Dr. Hayward, your phone rings. When you answer, it's a dial tone. Runs on for 30 seconds or so. You remember something about putting in a special ID number that you had picked out. And after a small wait with a few periodic beeps, there's a very stilted, possibly robotic female voice that responds. Hello, this is Karen from Black Sands Travel Agency. We have your reservation set up tomorrow at 6228 or 6220 Goddard Drive. It might be chilly. Bring a jacket.
I don't remember making these reservations.
There is no response on the line. You check your email. There is a plane ticket already reserved in your name, paid for with your credit card.
I pack lightly.
All right. So rejoining agents Sansom and Aubrey driving up. It is a brisk morning in Montana, approximately 39 degrees, gray skies blowing over in March. You drive up to the address that is listed for the Visitor Welcome Center at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Mm-hmm. This, you are directed to park your car in a designated lot and walk inside to submit ID, security check clearance, so that way you can enter the base and receive a pass for a number of hours to be permitted on base. You stand in the line. There's a few soldiers in uniform that are, behind plexiglass, taking folks who are waiting in line.
All right. We'll go through whatever process they're requiring us to make.
Sure. As you stand in line for a bit, I feel like maybe Agent Aubrey might be the type to mention, man, really glad I brought my jacket today. One of the soldiers standing behind the glass moves his eyes to make contact with you, and a barely perceptible nod of the head ushers you over into his line. As you walk in, present your driver's license, he sort of half palms it and doesn't scan it into the record, then passes a visitor sheet to you, directing you to building 647, room B. And does this for both of you without directing the attention of anyone else.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
He nods. As you make your way through this concrete maze of an Air Force base, you arrive in front of this building and walk in. You're immediately confronted with a blast of heat. They're definitely not skimping on the thermostat. It feels like it must be 80 in here. As you walk in through a various maze, as a testament to the versatility of wood paneling around all of these different hallways and linoleum floors, you open the door to a conference room where a certain someone is waiting for you. Agent Joy. Two strangers walk into a room while you've been waiting for a few minutes.
Hello, gentlemen. I would imagine we're here for the same reason.
Think it's safe to assume that?
I don't know. What reason are you here for?
Oh, I'm a fan of musicals. I'm here for an opera, my friend.
Puccini. Yeah.
Ah. Is that a food?
It's the author of Madame Butterfly.
Oh. Agent, I'm sorry. I don't think I've made introductions. You are...
I look around, just make sure there's like no. I doubt there would be surveillance of any kind in here.
Oh, I would hope not, my friend.
This room looks very outdated. It honestly, it looks like a very poor rendering of a forest. Dirty, green, unwashed carpet, wood panel around the walls, the same sort of an uncanny resemblance of the same paneling on the square desk. And an old the incandescent light bulb projector sitting in the room. There's barely any air moving in through the vents. It is sweltering.
I move closer to him and I say, Kios, Agent Kios.
Pleasure to meet you, Agent Kios. And you see, Agent Joy, the short man, fairly thin, reach up, extend the hand. Pleasure to meet you.
I shake
Joy.
your hand.
Yep.
For
you
the,
look like you're with. So are you guys like dressed in like
similar?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. You two together, eh?
Well, we just happen to work at the same place, but for the duration, when anybody else is around, you can call me Special Agent Claude Sansom, FBI.
And you, my friend? He turns to,
I'm Special Agent Ezekiel Aubrey, but I guess for tonight, you call me Agent Bagman.
Absolutely. You can call me Kyle. I work for, the company.
Somehow I could tell.
Always on company business, my friend. So
I'll pay you the compliment and say, I couldn't tell.
marvelous. Hey, this smile has been rated highly effective in Quantico.
Who else is, do we have any idea who else is coming or what this is about? Anything yet?
As you mentioned that, we can have the remaining two player characters sort of walk into the room, looking at notes on their card, trying to find the right door.
Hello.
Afternoon, sir. You see a tall, lanky man with a large cowboy hat on and a mustache that kind of comes down either side of his mouth. He's wearing dirty Wranglers and laced up Packer boots, and he's got a denim shirt on too. And so who are you folks?
Oh, pleasure to meet you. And then you see the little man walk up, and extend a hand. Hi.
Why?
Well, didn't catch your name, my friend.
Well, I guess around here it'd be Highline, but day job I go by Patrick Kelly.
Very glad to meet you, Patrick.
I suppose I should have asked you milk punch or whiskey.
You want some? Oh, this is the wrong time.
Oh, and you miss? Oh, but
Oh,
you are
you're
muted.
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 Your cat's got your tongue.
Yeah.
You're still muted.
There you go. Hello, miss.
Hello. I'm not interested in your day job. I'm Agent Throttle, and I have a feeling that we're here to do something. And I had to fly, so I'm going to need a gun.
I didn't bring a spare.
Here.
Wonderful.
See, that's just service.
Man,
Does
you
anybody
guys
know
have-
what we're doing here?
Nothing yet. I assume they'll come in and tell us. Someone with the opera will start.
I was hoping you could tell me.
Kyle just sits back down and, leans back in the chair. I'm sure he'll be here in due time.
Interesting choice
With
for
that-
opera that they chose. Madam Butterfly.
Pleasure to meet you, ma'am. I'm Agent Highline.
Is it me or is it hotter than hell in this room?
Oh, it's hotter than hell.
Yeah, it's maybe it has something to do with why we're here. We'll see.
Hotter than a whore in church.
And on that note, you wait and wait. You start pacing around the room. Again, there's barely any air moving. If you had any coats on, surely they're going to be layered on top of the desks by now. Pacing back and forth. Hours pass by.
At some point, I'm going to start looking at all of the pictures. I mean, the walls. Is there some hidden code here?
It's somebody's office. Where are we? Are any of you familiar with this place?
Well, it said the opera is going to start 12 p.m. sharp. Correct?
Yeah. What time is it now?
Like how early are we?
Sometime nearing 3 p.m. There's a sort of quick knock at the door, and the door gets pushed open, not by a person, but by a large drum-sized industrial trash can with an older-looking stooped gentleman with tired shoulders sort of pushes it into the room, wearing gray coveralls. Seems to be local janitor. Walks in. He just sort of looks in, barely acknowledges the rest of you, and starts ruffling in through the contents of the trash can, and then throws some papers out on the desk around you. Says, "All right, apologies for being late. You can call me Agent Gaston. I'll be your handler for this evening." You turn, getting a better look at his face. He seems to be an elderly, perhaps Mexican, Latino, older man, with a thick, rich black mustache and very tired eyes. Seems like he could be anywhere from your dad to your grandfather, that sort of obscure 50-plus age. And pushes a piece of paper. At first, he sort of throws it in the middle of the table, then looks around, passes it more directly over to Angela Hayward. And just by taking a look at it, it is a death certificate. Then as he's rifling through this, again, digging contents out of the trash can, he sets some clear plastic documents on top of the old projector and lights it up. Agent Joy, I imagine you were sitting closest to it. You start feeling the heat radiating off of this projector even more as this dull buzz comes to life. And you see a picture of a relatively happy-looking, smiling man. He says, "Well, Officer Fred Jacobs was found dead in his home a few days ago. This just came in through the wire. Wife found him in bed, went to sleep, never woke up. Whenever they went to do the autopsy, found his cause of death to be toxic shock from abnormally high concentration of heavy metals. Arsenic, cadmium, zinc. From what the coroner was saying, apparently this was a head scratcher because this should have taken months to accumulate within a person's body and organs. This was found throughout his system, not just in his stomach. So they sent it up the wire, which we have methods, intercepted this. So as of right now, there are no toxic spills in the area that could have explained this. He was on his feet a week beforehand, called out sick 2 days prior, then woke up dead. So,
What was his occupation?
he was a deputy at the Lewis County Sheriff's Office. Now, we intercepted this and are able to keep the local Montana district of FBI out of this, much to their frustration. But we couldn't keep it from everybody. Turns out the EPA got filed through these heavy metal risks. They think that it's cause of a spill. No spills reported in the area, but that doesn't change them from wanting to have an excuse to go in, look around.
Mr. Janitor, why aren't they thinking that his wife's murdered him? That she hasn't been feeding him heavy metal poison for months, a little bit at a time?
No, local sheriff's office looked into that. Yeah, she has been distraught. They were trying to have a baby together, from what we have been able to tell by their testimony. Local sheriff's office does not suspect her as a suspect at all. At the very least, we haven't received any documentation that they are even entertaining the idea.
So is this just a weird case, or is there another reason why it's drawn our attention? I mean,
Well,
people die weird all the time. I should know.
yes, they do. And sometimes that weird is actually something. So we're a little short on person power at the moment. So cobbled you all together. We want you to go down and find out exactly what kind of weird this is. We want you to determine whether Jacob's death was the result of an unnatural vector. If it is, we want you to identify this vector and neutralize it. Destroy the body, minimize any possible evidence for exposure. If possible, try and find a way to mark this as a bioterrorism case. Sansom and Aubrey should have no trouble then making this under full FBI jurisdiction that can get the EPA to back off your cases. There's plenty of domestic terrorist, white supremacist, racist fuckhead cells in the area, Proud Boys, Sons of Freedom, stuff like that. Should be pretty easy to find a patsy if you need.
Any limitations on collateral damage if we need to keep this under wraps?
But we don't want to get any attention towards us, or
Sure.
we want to go in quietly and get out quietly.
This is already a bit of an active situation, so we ask you to control this as best you can. I sincerely hope nothing appears on national news.
Nothing ever does.
Nothing ever does. Let's see. Rummages through the trash can a little bit more. We're not able to give you any official resources at the moment. Of course, we have reason we brought in Sansom and Aubrey in this. You all have actual FBI badges. We're able to print off a few honorary deputy stickers and then passes a few FBI consultant papers over to Kelly, Hayward, and Lai. These have your actual names on them. Now, again, since the Montana FBI office is relatively nearby and they're a little pissed off that we swooped this out from under them, it is advised to not make too much of a stir. If they have reason to investigate themselves, we will not be able to stop them. We would advise using your names when possible and do not attract attention to yourselves. We will not be able to protect you. We are also not able to provide official FBI resources, comp you for travel, lodging, things like that. Again, because that's in their hands. So That one's on you. We do have word of a green box in the area, though I have it on good authority. You may need a metal detector to help find it. And throws a piece of paper that is a printed out MapQuest area. Seems to be of the southeast corner of Helena, with a red X circled and some pencil handwriting of map coordinates. Seems to be way out in the woods.
Seems to be something from the cowboy era if it's buried out in the woods. That's funny.
Maybe. It's probably a relic. We don't use it too often. But at the very least, it should be secure.
Do we have inventory listing? Any idea what's in it?
That's the best I can get you.
Cowboy.
I was happy to find anything. It's we've been having a little mixed luck with storage units lately, so... Any other questions I can try and answer for you today?
Always did wonder what those weirdos got up to over there in Helena.
What are you gonna? Do we have a place where we're all going to stay, or we have to arrange that ourselves?
You're going to have to arrange that one yourself. Again, we have to keep our hands off of this, and it is an active situation. Tensions are a little bit high. Hopefully, this turns out to be nothing. As you said, Agent Joy, weird shit happens all the time.
And nothing will make national news. Nothing will make national news.
Well, like Bagman, it looks like La Quinta Inn again.
Yeah.
Like in La Quinta Inn.
Well, as far as travel goes, I could got an old Dodge Power Wagon crew cab, so we don't have to rent a car. It won't be tracked or anything.
All right. Well, I'd say you've told us enough. Now we'll do some investigation, see what we come up with.
All right. Boy. I trust you all have burner phones, whatnot. I would like you to enter this number. Rattles out a phone number, 8675309, and says, if necessary, keep us updated. Text message, phone calls preferred. If we don't answer, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you. All right. Good luck, all right, gentlemen, ma'am.
Sure.
So we will find, Google the general area where we're going to be functioning. We will find a motel in the area, probably looking to Inn, and book some rooms.
So my truck's parked at the airport in Billings. Flew out here from there, Billings, Montana, that is. So if we could fly into there, and we could use my truck for this, so we don't have to deal with any rentals. Get in there. I know they track those nowadays, buggers.
Yeah. And so you can pull up on Google Maps. Malmstrom is maybe 2.5 hours outside Helena, so it would just be a bit of a drive.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do, it's fine with me.
Anything interesting on that death certificate beyond heavy metal poisoning?
I don't know. I didn't get it. Did you drop something in chat? I didn't see anything.
It is in Discord.
It's the amount.
It reads that he had cardiopulmonary collapse, multi-organ failure, and heavy metal poisoning.
Just the amount of heavy metal.
In excess of 1,500 milligrams per kilogram.
I really would like to know why the sheriff's department decided that it wasn't the wife. It would seem like she would be number one suspect.
How big is this town? Is it one of those where everyone knows everyone else and that kind of thing?
Well, that's exactly why. I think the sheriff's like, oh, it couldn't have been Margaret.
She's known her since I was 12, yeah.
Well, he was law enforcement, and so they probably gave her much of the benefit of the doubt.
See, the biggest problem, people thinks that bad people kill bad people kill each other. And it's like, no, good people kill each other.
Well, and they're probably trying to make sure that she gets taken care of, what with life insurance.
Where was this autopsy done? No. Here? Are we here? Are we in Clark County, Montana right now?
You are not. You are about 2.5 hours southwest This was done in Helena, Montana, population just under 30,000. This was done at the local county coroner's office for Lewis and Clark County.
I understand.
Yeah.
So we should talk to this Holsey, Brian Holsey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. If one of you agents can call ahead, let them know we'll be coming. That'll help smooth things over, I'm sure.
So then I made a mistake then knowing where we are now. So I would have just driven here. I didn't fly.
That was why I tried to give you a tip that, you didn't need to drive or you didn't need to fly.
We have to keep in mind that the authorities could be in on something, so maybe not give them so much warning.
Yeah. We're not calling ahead. What is this, your first rodeo? Let's just get in the car and go.
Whatever y'all
I
say.
agree. Can't tell you how many times that a crime starts with the local authorities. You got
That's
to
true.
vet them first before you start giving them information.
Right. So we're gonna.
Yeah, let's go talk to the guy that did the autopsy.
That's
'Cause this
not
is
a bad,
weird.
yeah.
All right, pile in. You folks like Ian Tyson? Crank up.
What is that?
Oh, old ranch singer from Alberta.
No. Do you have the Pixies anywhere? Can you get the Pixies on this thing?
Like the candy?
Oh, look here. I'll just play it on my phone. You just drive.
By
All right.
far the longest 2.5 hours of my life.
Well, she shifts a little hard, but she's trustworthy.
Waiting in the office sauna suddenly looks a little more friendly.
Excel, noise canceling headphones. I'm good.
We'll call ahead and get a place to stay.
Sure. Again,
So-
this is 2017. Y'all have Google Maps.
Right,
and-
right.
Yeah, this is the easiest thing to do. We'll get 5 rooms.
Something with, like a decent restaurant nearby. And I don't know
Absolutely.
what there's
Yeah.
going to be out there, but whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm a surgeon.
There is
Yeah.
a Chili's
I'm not
within
gonna stay
walking
in the
distance.
circle.
Oh
Wait.
my God, not Chili's.
Chili's.
It's like there's a Denny's in the parking lot.
That's a bit highbrow for me.
I suppose so. As long as they have
March, is
cherry.
there snow? What's the
Huh?
country like? There's snow?
You drive through and it's remarkably empty. After you leave out from Malmstrom Air Force Base, you pass a couple of houses. Maybe that was a house. Can't even tell anymore. Wide open. Officer Kelly will be able to tell you this is the reason why they call it Big Sky Country. The only thing that you can see is wide open, light blue skies. The wind is dry whipping outside of the windows. There's dark blue mountains out in the horizon, sort of cutting it up in the far distance. Besides that, it is nigh untouched nature that you're driving through.
Beautiful.
Welcome to Montana. This is God's country.
But is there snow everywhere?
At this
Probably in the
point in
shadows.
March, yeah, it may be little bits of white powdering here and there, but it's not a winter
like-
wonderland.
Oh, okay.
It's a dry, windy cold.
Okay. Awesome.
Probably
great to
white
pack
as
light.
you look up into the mountains.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, just so that you all understand.
And you pack light.
geez. You're going to freeze to death, mister.
This is-
Madam.
yes.
Madam.
That's all right.
Are you a
we've gotta
Mrs.
get
or a Miss?
Excuse me.
Is there a Mr. anywhere?
What are we prying into each other's personal details here?
It's 2.5 hours of.
Look, I'm listening to the Pixies on my Bluetooth headphones.
All right. Keep.
Did I hear that we've got to buy a metal detector?
He
find the
suggested that we
locker?
find a metal detector to find the locker, which means that it's probably in an underground.
Can we
Bunker.
get a metal detector at a hardware store somewhere in Montana?
Most
Hell
likely.
yeah, any Walmart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Well, I don't spend a lot of time in Walmart. This may surprise you.
Boy, yeah. Well, this long drive, boy, I tell you, it's been a rough calving season this year. We had a late season cold snap, and boy, I almost lost a few on the ranch.
When do you castrate?
Well,
It was too late.
that's all done by now. I mean, like I said, we almost lost a bunch of cattle, and well, I don't want to sound crass, but when we get those late season cold snaps, the cattle can get a thing called broken dick syndrome. But
Broken dick syndrome? Is that what you said?
yes, ma'am.
You see, the dick is the part of the anatomy that the bull uses to make more cattle.
Yes, and when
Unless he's been castrated.
that's exposed in -40, -50 degrees, well, it can cause complications.
Has no one heard of artificial bull semen insemination up here?
That's city talk.
If you were a man, you would understand.
This is
Because men understand semen better than women.
They do.
I'm going to take your word for it, mister.
Well, anyway, what do you folks do?
FBI.
besides,
FBI, the feds. Boy,
Still have my headphones on. No idea what's happening.
say I'm in a dignified company here. Just an old Rosebud County Sheriff's deputy.
This autopsy is pretty light. There's not really a lot of information in here.
Yeah,
Well,
these rural places don't do very thorough.
yeah, and
But there's
also
no lab processing here. I
But-
mean, you wouldn't think that this guy Byron did it all himself.
and it's almost like they weren't sure, so they just put what they saw. I mean, look, I mean, the first thing is the immediate cause was cardiopulmonary collapse, which can be caused by heavy metal, because it can raise your blood pressure, but not within 48 hours. And
We're going to need to track down we're going to need to track down his movements, probably the week prior up to this.
Well, can you come up with a plausible means by which somebody could get that much heavy metal in their bodies in such a short period of time?
It's not a natural. I
No,
can't think of a natural cause.
Imagine
that would do
if he went swimming in mercury or, that's why we really have to eliminate the fact that she could have been feeding him, small amounts over the course of a year, and they've just built up to the point where his system finally collapsed. But they don't want to.
But it wouldn't.
They don't want to.
But it wouldn't work like that. There would be signs. He would be feeling poorly. It's a long process.
We don't know that he hasn't been feeling
complaints.
poorly. We don't know that he hasn't been feeling poorly. There might be all sorts of little incidents that we're just not told about.
That's true. So we'll interview the wife.
They were talking about EPA, getting involved here, and not too terribly far east of here, old Butte, Montana. There's an old, what do they call that? A Superfund site. There's a mining pit. They mine copper out there, and that's full of nasty shit. A flock of geese landed in there one time, and all of them died. It's just full of heavy metals. They just left it right in the middle of town. It's a tourist attraction now.
What, the dead geese?
No. Visit. Listen, once we're all done with this, I'll take you over there. It's really something to see. It's an old mining.
I've seen it. I don't see the need a pile of dead geese. How far out are we?
By this point, I think this road trip has been so kind, so pleasant that those hours have flown right by, especially for those of you with headphones on. You start seeing signs of civilization out in the distance, and soon you can start pulling into town that it does seem quaint. There's quite a few buildings around. It seems to be sort of interspersed between these very modern, nice tan Lego brick looking stylings, but peppered in are some older Victorian looking buildings. So you get a mix of architecture around, some statues layering around town there. You can certainly drive up to your local La Quinta. There's a Denny's down the way, a Chili's just across the highway. You can just quick step right over there. Yeah, where do you want to go?
Well, let's get into the motel and
Kyle
decide
just
which room
out,
we're going to use as our headquarters.
stretches his little legs. Oh, so good after 2 hours of sitting. I don't know how you tall people take it.
I
Must
think
be
we should
miserable.
go straight to the police station. What do you need to do? Freshen up, ladies?
No.
Yeah.
Boy,
I need to use the crapper. If you
I think we should hit some of these places at the same time.
yeah.
Don't let them call each other and warn ahead.
Right.
Decide what you're doing. Okay.
Like some of us go to the police station, others head to the house, another head to the coroner's office.
Yes. Aubrey and I are both FBI. We can go to the police station, and Dr. Hayward should go to the coroner.
I'll go along with the doctor then. Always like to see dead bodies.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We have to get the body. We have to get rid of that.
Patrick, why don't you come along? We need a heavy, big guy like you could help us move the body.
Sure. If you need help with anything, I'm just here to help. Sure.
Good man.
Somebody needs to interview the wife. Find out the real story. We'll head on over to the sheriff's after we've.
Yeah, and we don't know if the coroner's is Google any help? Where's the coroner's office? Can we search for that?
For sure. You could pull up the coroner's office. It's let's say just in the midst of downtown. It's another nondescript building, but you can get that pulled up on Google Maps.
It's probably close to the police station, I'd imagine.
It is a few blocks away from the police station.
Hospital.
True.
The hospital is actually a way that is on sort of the eastern side of town. Hospital would be maybe a mile or two away. The coroner's office is a few blocks away from the sheriff's office.
Sure. The three of us will go to the coroner's office, and the two feds will go to the sheriff's department.
Yeah, and if you suspect the wife, then usually she'll be the last one we want to talk to anyways once we have more information. So that's okay.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys notice the body was donated on this form?
The body's not there?
No, the body was donated.
That may have been an artifact because I downloaded a template cause of death certificate. So,
Okay.
Sorry, I tried to make good props.
No, that's a good problem. I just thought it was I thought it was
right. Another thread.
I mean, that's a great
Right.
eagle eye
they got
detail.
rid of the
but-
body. Yeah.
So I love the enthusiasm, but nah, that's just
Sorry.
my bad.
The body's gone.
All right.
So as we're going along, I'm like, so Patrick, how tall are you?
Oh,
He looks up here.
6'2" without my boots on.
Oh wow, you're a tall one.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
been called.
Should we have gotten 4 rooms? 4 adults and 1 child.
Hey, you know what? If we get a discount,
That was funny.
All right. I'm refreshed. I'm going to
Okay.
yeah.
get with Aubrey.
You two
I'm
want to
ready
go
to
to the
get going.
sheriff's office, and then the remaining 3 will go to the county coroner's office.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll meet back here for lunch, I suppose. Or late. What time is it as we've arrived?
It's about 5:30 or so.
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we'll
these
meet back
places-
for
the
dinner.
coroner's office is going to be closed, isn't it?
That would make sense, actually, if they would close at about 5.
yeah, almost should have called ahead.
Well, we could go.
Maybe we can catch him. Maybe we noticed that it was late and we didn't go get
Right, go to
Well,
La Quinta
go take-
first. Yeah.
a potty break,
There's-
and we went straight there.
There's a good deal of research too that we can get done tonight. Where the guy worked, this whole area. Are there any mines? Are there any industrial complexes that have heavy metals? All of that sort of information we can gather together. We've got access to computers, so
Yeah, Walmart's
So-
open 24 hours, so we could get, metal detectors, things like that too.
yeah.
So
The
since
equipment
it's
we
so
need.
late, why don't we all just go to the police station?
Do we
Okay.
want to all show up at the police station? We might overwhelm them. You guys can go to Walmart.
I think it'll help for at least 1 or 2 of us not to be known by local enforcement, just in case. So I'll go to Walmart.
I mean, after a death like this, 2 FBI agents doesn't raise an eyebrow. 2 FBI agents, a cowboy, and a CIA operative. That's probably going to make them uncomfortable.
We have a CIA operative here? What?
The sheriff's office, I may not have been clear during the initial briefing. The sheriff's office knows that the EPA and FBI are coming in to investigate this case because they sent it up the wire. The FBI is taking a potential bioterrorism angle. The EPA is putting a toxic spill angle.
So now we can all go over to the sheriff's office and walk inside, and they can open up the coroner's office for you because we've arrived and we want to, the hours don't matter. Hours are for employees.
Okay.
Yeah,
sounds good.
To work with, do that for us.
Yeah. So you all get back, fold yourselves back into the cramped car, and drive down. Sheriff's office isn't too far away. It's at 221 Breckenridge Street. There is a very impressive, tall stone building at the corner of the block, with 4 large stone columns with crenulations that sort of inspires a little bit of hope in law enforcement. And then you recognize that that is not the sheriff's office. That is just the county tax office. The sheriff's office is a remarkably bland tan building with corrugated metal, and that the stone that's packed against the side of the walls makes it look like the exterior of a Target. As you pull up in front, there's a sign directing to the sheriff's office is on the left-hand side of the building. The police station is on the right-hand side. Various other governmental departments are mixed in amongst this. You park your vehicle, and as you're getting out, there is a sheriff's car. That there is a deputy, seems to be a little scruffy, that is actively hauling in a much taller male with wearing blue jeans, hiking boots, red flannel shirt. You can see the hints of various tattoos around his neck and arms, spewing various racist profanities at the cop and anyone who is passing by as he's going in. You get a decent side profile of this officer's face, and he is cursing under his breath, putting his elbow in the guy's back and sort of running him in through the door.
If I look at the tattoos, what would I know about, the affiliations, whether, how many men he's killed, that kind of thing? Would I be able to read that?
Sure. You don't necessarily see any prison tats of that ilk, but you would see various sort of those Norse, types of tattoos in and around. You see stuff that sort of marks them as typical white supremacist, Aryan Nation, other lovely tattoos people can put on their bodies.
Okay. So I'll just raise an eyebrow and, move on.
Seems like a winner.
Patrick will holler out to the officer and, "Hey, bud, you need help with that guy?"
God damn, yes, I would. Can you please get him to shut up? I would love if you could get him to do that for me.
Yeah, here, you take one arm, I'll get the other. Let's get him in here.
All right. The guy ends up yelling, it's like, "Who the fuck are you, you goddamn motherfucking liberal commie ass piece of shit? Get off me. I know my rights. This is against my freedom. This Second Amendment, motherfuckers." And again, it is just nonstop spewing as they take him in. The officer who was sitting at the front desk sort of raises an eyebrow at the apparently very helpful Samaritan helping to bring this guy in. The officer in question just says, like, "It's all right, Kim. Like, it's fine. I got an eye on him. Just going to put him in." So they just put him in holding cell in the back, carries you up front, and so thanks for that, I guess. Hayes, nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you, sir. Patrick Kelly, Rosebud County Sheriff's Deputy. Boy, you got some weird folks up here in the city.
Oh, hell. Oh, I guess that's why you sounded familiar. That's you know how it is. You throw a stick around here and you're going to find somebody that wants to start. We got too many of those folks with small minds and small dicks and big guns around here that like to cause problems for others.
Boy, they just don't teach the kids manners around here, do they, anymore?
Well, that, and it's a goddamn catch and release stream out here. Every time, whoever his little gang buddies are always post bail for him. So maybe we can hold him longer than a few days this time.
Wait, you actually let him go?
Nah, fuckers post bail. We'll hold on to him for a minute, and then they're just back out in the system. I don't know where they get the money from. Kind of don't want to know.
Shoot, we just lock him up in the station.
How I'm envious of that.
The facility here is real nice. You must have a hell of a budget. Our station's a mobile home. And
Excuse me, gentlemen. Who's in charge here?
Hello, ma'am. That would be Sheriff Leo Potter.
Is Sheriff Potter in?
Who is asking?
Where would the FBI? And I point to these two. And we'd like to talk to Sheriff Potter.
And who is we?
Special Agent Ezekiel Aubrey.
Special Agent Claude Sansom. And the doctor is not actually an official member of the FBI, but she is consulting with us. We're here. There was a phone call. We're here investigating the death of Mr. Fred Jacobs.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. Caught me off guard a bit. Yeah.
Long trip, sorry.
No, that's, yeah, I get it. A whole lot of nothing in between. Let me put in a word, see if Leo's got some time. If you can just, take a seat over there. Have some coffee. There is no coffee in the pot. You wait a few minutes.
I will make coffee.
Yeah.
Very kind of you. You wait for a few minutes. A different man in sheriff's uniform comes out. He's pushing about 6'3", very thin, lanky, pale, has his hair sort of put back with a little bit too much cheek gel, and smells of this cool aftershave. It's like, so gentlemen, ma'am, hello, my name is Under Sheriff John Pullman. I'm here to take you back to meet with Sheriff Potter. Heard you're here to look into our dear Officer Jacob.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We want to speak to the sheriff. We just need to figure out. We have a few questions to ask. The doctor here is going to need to see the body.
Okay.
Because we're going to have to take a
And
second
speak
look
with
at
your
that.
corner.
Yeah. So, well, let's see. I don't have his number on me right now, but I will put in a word, see if we can get in touch with Brian. And here, just go ahead and follow me, and I'll take you in to meet Sheriff Potter. Lead you through a network of tan linoleum floors and cheap fluorescent lighting. You finally get to a wooden door with a glass frame in it, Sheriff Potter on the front. You get the nice characteristic scene of the big heavy leather chair turns around as you walk in. There's some fish that are framed up on the walls, various other hunting paraphernalia. Older white male, balding, with a thin sort of goatee. Says, "Oh, gentlemen, ma'am, I hear you've caused a little bit of a stir. You here to investigate Officer Jacob?"
Yes, we're hoping to be able to do that, and we'll get out of your hair as quickly as possible.
Well, I do appreciate the courtesy. Your colleagues from the EPA have already been by a little bit before you. We've got them running around. They're taking samples out around Jacob's usual beat that he would run, see if he had picked up some sort of exposure there. I trust you all will want to take a look at the body. Let me go ahead and ring up coroner.
What's the sheriff's first name? Is it on the door?
It on the sign on his desk is Leo Potter.
Leo Potter.
Did Pullman follow us in?
Pullman left you all at the door. Sort of, he has a bit of a clammy handshake and just sort of led you in, closed the door behind you, and he's milling around, trying to be inconspicuous, but out of earshot.
I have a
I'm
role
sorry.
question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What's Hume in?
Human intelligence.
Int is human intelligence. That's sort of your ability to read a person, equivalent of insight in
Psychology.
D&D.
Yeah.
You mentioned some folks from the EPA were by. Did you happen to catch a name just so we could, touch base with them, coordinate our efforts?
Oh, sure.
Like,
Let's
did they leave
see.
a card? Maybe, I don't know.
I didn't have a card, but I did get an email. Let me double check.
Oh,
That
okay.
is a Gabrielle Foltz and a Jenna Gaylor.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Foltz, she's worked with us a little bit before. She's dual EPA and DEQ. So, yeah. Let's
That's
see.
A-okay with me.
Good to hear. Let me see if I can get Dr. Holsey on the line here.
Who was that? Was that Pullman doing the talking?
This is all Potter.
Oh, this is all Potter.
Yes. Pullman is out of the room, within shouting distance, in case Potter decides to do that. Seems like maybe that seems to be the norm.
I'm gonna can I make a human roll to just get a feel of the sheriff? And I'd like to do it with the undersheriff too.
Sure, go ahead.
If they're trying to hide something or. Yeah.
I just want to see how they're acting towards us. You know what I mean? No, I didn't make it. It's an under is a success, right? I didn't make it a success.
Okay. Well, even on a failure, it doesn't take a whole lot to recognize. Pullman's a bit of an ass kisser. Sort of did the thing where he stoops his head a little bit whenever he poked his head into the room. Again, waiting not quite inconspicuously outside. It seems like he always tries to butter up against Sheriff Potter. Potter at least rubs you as someone who is used to being the loudest voice in the room and doesn't quite. He is concerned about his deputy taking the situation seriously, but also doesn't really like the way people are shaking up the order of things that he's very used to having.
Sheriff, what kind of a deputy was Jacob?
Oh, fine as any I ever had. Kept his nose clean. Definitely, he and Christina have been trying to have a baby for some time. I know. He's been real happy to keep working since they got that done. I think they're due a couple of months now. But
is that right? So they're he was. We're going to need to look at his personnel file. That's not going to be a problem, is it?
Not at all. That's I'm pretty sure Officer Hayes can help you with all that. We have his Jacob's desk, all of his belongings, things like that. At least we cleared off from there. Welcome to take a look through all of that. Again, trying to be as welcome with the FBI's jurisdiction as we can.
Absolutely. And we want to get through this as quick as we can and get out of your hair. How long did he work for you?
He's been working here a few years, I think maybe 5-7 years. Just about since he.
Do you know what he was working on just before this? What cases was he working on?
Well, I know you all are used to really intense goings on, but we don't really have much in the way of cases. We have our usual shitbirds, drunk drivers, wife beatings, things like that. But I don't really know of anything big that he was tasked to. Usually just went around on his beat. He was acting a bit funny last week. I guess that was, coming down with something. Showed
up. What do you mean
up.
he was acting funny? He was sick? You think he was sick?
Yeah, maybe so. Just sort of seemed a little bit out of it. Told him to go home and change. He came back into the station soaking wet. Looked like someone puked on him and then just sat in his chair. It was stinking up the whole place. I ended up I could smell him down here from damn near the hallway. And so, told him to go home and change his clothes.
I mean, a week later, he's dead.
I suppose.
I'm sure there's a report about that incident, right? He filed a report. That's procedure, right?
No, we don't file reports whenever someone makes an ass of themselves on an average Wednesday.
So he walked in soaking wet, didn't make a report about what happened?
Nah, he said a drifter threw up on him. I'm guessing he may have just been a little bit dazed, maybe catching a cold already or something.
The drifter threw up on them. Do you guys keep, I mean, I know this is a quiet town, but you guys keep track of who's coming in and out, especially if they're, you don't recognize them?
Well, normally I would say yes. Let's see, hang on a second. He pulls up some logs on his computer. All right. Called dispatch sometime around 8 p.m. on, let's see, somewhere 8 p.m. sometime on Sunday, February 26th. Calls in later, said he was doing a wellness check. A few minutes later, says it was nothing. Drifter threw up on him. Then, came into the office, sat around, kind of made an ass of himself. I told him to go home, change of clothes. Changed, came back in.
What time
did some paperwork. Finished his job for the night.
Did you happen to know where the wellness check was? I'm sure the GPS on the car could tell us, but if you haven't, I'll say this time.
Yeah, I'm just a city girl from Atlanta, Georgia. What does a wellness check mean?
Wellness check is if we have probable cause that someone may be potentially drunk or in need, sort of stumbling around, we have authority to go in and check and make sure that everything is fine. In this case, he said he saw someone stumbling beside the road and went in to make sure everything was okay. Apparently it was.
What time was that?
Let's see. I'll tell you what, sometime around 8 p.m. I just have local dispatch notes. He does have a dash cam on his car. This certainly seems to have piqued your interest.
But by the way, does Fred have someone close to him, on the office or in the department,
or a
like
partner?
a really good buddy, a partner? Yeah.
Not really a partner, but I know he and Hayes used to go fishing pretty often.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, he didn't socialize that much. He was pretty much on the straight and narrow, stuck to his personal life. We try to keep respective boundaries here. But yeah, I know he and Hayes were friendly with each other. I can put y'all in touch.
Oh, that'll be great.
Hayes is another deputy.
Sheriff, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Hayes was the one that Kelly was chatting with that brought in the very loud, rude gentleman.
Sheriff, you're aware of what your deputy died of, yes?
We heard it was something with heavy metal poisoning or some such.
Indeed. We were trying to, what possible source can you think of around here? Do you have any mining, paper mills, anything like that where there might be toxic waste or toxic use of heavy metals? A mine?
I did think that was y'all's job to figure that one out. At the very least, that's what the EPA is looking into. Only thing that sort of rings a bell for me as heavy metals is the old Berkeley pit that's out in Butte. I mean, he was wet, but I sincerely doubt he went for a swim. That's a little bit away from his beat, and he didn't deviate from his schedule that much.
No, I don't think that a swim in such a place would be enough to give him that kind of heavy metal poisoning.
We need to see that dash cam. I want to see what happened.
Yeah,
certainly. I can give you access to that.
I have to say, Sheriff, I'm a little surprised that a drifter throws up on a deputy and you all brush that off as normal behavior.
No, that was up to Officer Jacobs' discretion. He liked to believe in the best of people. Apparently, this person was not in need at that time, and Jacobs thought they were fine on their own. Again, I did not look into this too much. This just seemed like another run of the mill. I can also tell you about the time that Hayes ended up running over a possum and found out that it was someone's pet. That was a whole lot more paperwork than just some drifter throwing up on him. But, yeah,
what's the population of your town?
Last I checked, just under 30,000, about 29,000. So.
And in your particular area, you'd say that you get to know people pretty well?
Fairly well. I mean, hard to keep track of everyone in this town, but sure, at least the folks that matter.
Yeah. It's not like a big town.
Nah.
You guys take care of each other. You're all have Sunday dinner together and shit like that.
Yeah, we try to have good relationships with all the other offices around.
So it's understandable that you don't keep track of every dumb little thing that happens. It's not like New York City or where you have 500 cops under you.
And also I do feel a little bit under a microscope here, but we are in charge of the entire Lewis and Clark County. This is not just a local PD. That's on the other side of the building. So we are stretched a little bit thin. We have about 12 full-time officers to serve this entire county area. So,
well, if we seem a little abrupt and little straightforward and harsh, it's just part of our job. We understand. We're if we didn't ask the questions, then we would never, find the answers. If scientists didn't ask about this particular mold, they would have never discovered penicillin.
Well, I understand. I'm very used to good cop, bad cop. I've just never been on the receiving end of good cop, bad cop, bad cop, bad cop, bad cop.
Well, we're not really trying to play good cop, bad cop. We're just, some of us
we're just doing our jobs.
Let's
just get these files. And then is there any way we can talk to the coroner tonight?
I'll go ahead and put in a call with him. I'm pretty sure they've locked up, but let me see if he's at home.
Yeah,
home address.
If we could get in there anyways, yeah.
Okay. So he calls on the phone a bit. No answer. Says, well, I guess they locked up. Maybe he's busy or something. Here's his home address. If you're really interested, otherwise they're going to be opening up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And this is Dr. Brian Holsey. There's a little girl that he's got running the front desk out there, Janet Reese. Real nice coroner's assistant. She's working on her associates. And so don't be too mean to her. She's a sweet girl.
Well, we get paid to be mean, though.
No, we don't.
We really don't.
As they say, you can catch more flies with manure than you can with
So,
all right, we're done.
honey.
So when the sheriff kind of comes in, when a sheriff is the sheriff leaving, kind of as we're kind of packing up.
No, at this point he's doing that social ritual where he's being more and more focused on his computer and trying to say, so I have some other things to take care of, but I can have Officer Hayes direct you out to the dash cam footage, and he'll be able to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, Sheriff, you mentioned that you keep an eye on folks that matter, things like that in town. What do you mean by that? Just out of curiosity, like important business leaders, local gang leaders. What does that really mean?
Oh, we're not that in touch with local gang leaders. That it wouldn't go that far. No, just keeping in touch with folks that run the fire department, bankers, lawyers, the people that tend to have their names on the front of businesses and whatnot.
That makes sense. Keep that network going.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Great.
So as I'm I guess as we're walking out, going towards the dash cam, I'll kind of mention to Kios. So actually anyone who can hear our group, so you're telling me you go on a wellness check. The person you arrive at the scene, the person pukes on you. This is a wellness check. And you don't put them in the drunk tank at least. You just go home. You go back to the station.
You're imagining there is a person, right? So the webcam will let us know.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
We're not getting anywhere here. Let's just take everything and get out of here.
Unless the person wasn't drunk.
Right. There's something else. I mean, in the meantime, we have names of the EPA, I guess, officials. If you guys can coordinate on your end to get access to their files, because I'm sure it's synced to the cloud, then we can see what they've been seeing.
Well, to be fair,
I don't think that there's some mysterious heavy metal pool here that all of a sudden some guy finds, falls in, and dies.
It's just one more data point, Agent Throttle.
If there's a pool here, that would have happened before.
Well, Doc, give us some method by which a person could get so much, injection, obviously. But, you would say something, right? You wouldn't die immediately. You'd die in a week.
And if you injected someone with that much heavy metal, you wouldn't let them go. The point would be to kill them, not to let them go tell what would happen.
Right. And what's the point if you have them already?
So what we
Right.
know is, and what we'll probably see on the dash cam, he sees a vagrant. He confronts the vagrant to see if he's okay, and the vagrant throws up on him.
Right.
The next step in the sequence is he comes back to the station. He's soaking wet, maybe to wash off the vomit, but he smells, and he gets told to go home and change because of his thing.
How do we get the dash cam?
There's a big gap in there that we have to figure out what happened. Could be that something happened to him that was very embarrassing to him, and that's why he didn't tell anybody.
And
Sure.
we have the dash
Instead
cam
of-
already, right?
We could get the
Yeah, let's just look at the dash cam footage.
Yeah. Also remember, if we're out of everybody's range, that we're not really here to solve their problems.
Oh, absolutely not.
We're here to see if there's something weird going on.
So Patrick is
Right.
going to approach Officer Hayes.
Sure. As you all walk out closer to the bullpen, there are several well-worn wooden desks. Hayes is sitting at his, very disheveled, lots of paper scattered around everywhere. You look, getting a view from behind him, he smells a little bit of Axe body spray or some other similarly scented cover-up, and his shirt is very wrinkled. Turns around and is like, Kelly, right?
That's right, sir.
All right. Yeah. Sergeant Hayes, nice to meet you all again. Now that we can meet on calmer terms. Sorry you had to watch all that. But yeah, how can I help?
So I kind of sidle over and I kind of half sit on the side of his desk and I say, so I was talking to Sheriff Potter back there and he said that you were kind of close with Jacob. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, close as can be. He was a good guy, really wanted to do what was right. I think maybe, think his dad was a little rough on him as a kid and sort of needed that authority figure, trying to be better than he was and trying to be better for other people.
Sure. Well, before I ask you a few more questions, how are you holding up? Is this weighing on you pretty hard?
I mean, what are you going to do about it? Hopefully y'all can get some sort of closure or something. But, we were close. We would go fishing and not talk sometimes, in that typical male bonding kind of way. But, yeah, it's rough seeing an empty desk. We're used to seeing someone for 5-7 years.
Sure.
Christina's an absolute wreck. They've been trying to have a baby. I think this is their third try, and seems like this one's finally going to stick. All he would talk about was, prepping for all of these, the Lamaze classes, all of the prenatal checkups. It's never seen someone that wanted to be a good dad as much as him. We went over, paid our respects. She ended up just asking us to leave, just needed some time to mourn. I respect that.
No, I understand that. I got a wife with child at home too. Kind of hits a little close to home, but just making sure you take care of yourself. When another officer dies, whether it's in the line of duty or otherwise, it can be tough and it sneaks up on you.
No, I appreciate that.
So, Jacob, in the days or weeks leading up to his death, was he acting different, acting funny, things going a little different for him?
I mean, I feel like he was coming down with something a bit. Seemed like he may have had the flu. You know how you get a little loopy, sort of forget where you put your keys, find your phone in the fridge kind of thing. There was a night a couple weeks ago, he came back in soaking wet, drenched to the bone, looked like he had puke on him and stunk to high heaven. That just sort of tried to go back to work without changing. So yeah, ended up Leo came in, had him go change. I think he was maybe feeling a bit out of it even then.
So what did he say about that? Jacob, that is.
I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. He's just saying that he didn't feel very well. he figured he had the flu. It was kind of weird. I never really thought much about it, but a couple of days before then, he asked me to unlock his phone, which, he tried to brush it off. He was, kind of business as usual, just saying that, laughed that he could never figure this thing out. But I mean, he never had a problem with that before.
Sure. So
it makes me wonder if he was, really should have stayed home a bit, because this was before COVID and people could come in with flu-ish symptoms, and that was just something that she did.
Sure. Well,
are we actually hearing the conversation?
Yes, you all are just standing nearby.
Oh, we are.
I'll interject and say, that lead causes, memory loss. It causes mental, like a cloud, confusion. It sounds like a confusion.
well, I heard that also kind of, they cut lead out of the gas some years back because it was making people aggressive.
It made the general population of the entire planet stupider.
Mm-hmm. You keep saying, we keep hearing that he stunk to high heaven. What was it? Can you describe the smell to me?
Well, have you ever had a man throw up on you?
Was it vomit?
And then
it's vomit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. If I had to describe it as ripe, yeah, that's kind of one of those, like how every dumpster smells the same. Once you get near to it, it just smelled like puke.
Sure. Well, about his memory loss was, or not figuring out how to open his phone. Was he forgetting other stuff too that you can remember?
That's, out of everything, that's the one that kind of stood out. It was a bit weird. I didn't think too much of it. He was still submitting paperwork like normal, coming into work. And it was just a couple days before he called out. He didn't usually call out unless he was really sick. And so we figured that he must have had some kind of cold or flu. And this time it finally got the better of him. And then he just didn't wake up.
So when he came in with the vomit on him, what did he say happened? What was his version of events?
He said that he stopped some guy he saw beside the road, and just said it was a drifter, threw up on him, and then ran.
Okay. Do you have a location on this?
Then ran. The drifter ran away.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's not what Sheriff Pullman said he said.
Fuck. Pullman doesn't know anything that isn't spelled out right in front of him. He's too busy kissing everybody's ass to get donations for the department.
Hey, we all have one of those. But hey,
keeps the wheels greased.
Do you know what part of this happened in?
It was on some road on his beat. I can probably get you some details. I think we
have the dash cam.
Yeah, probably be on his dash cam footage, something like that. I'm pretty sure he called it into dispatch, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Sure. And where'd you leave his rig?
Right now we're just keeping it back in the evidence locker, sort of saving it for you all to take a look at. I can lead you back there if you feel like it.
Well, I'd appreciate that.
Sure. He'll take you all back, has a sort of ring of keys on his belt, punches in a code, and then gets one of the keys off of it to open up the evidence locker. Pulls out a cardboard box that says Fred on it instead of any other relevant information. Drops it. Various office supplies, pens and whatnot, several flyers, a desk calendar that has prenatal appointments, Lamaze appointments. You can flip through it sometime around May or June. There's some big exclamation points. Browsing through there, nothing too much seems out of the ordinary. There's a photo of him and a blonde woman with thick blue-rimmed glasses. They seem happy. Seem a little younger than the photo that you were shown in the briefing. Then another one that looks a little bit more recent with both of their hands on a small bump on her belly.
So Hayes said that the dash cam was kept back here. You brought it back in here.
Well, that's just a little bit down the hall. But yeah, go ahead, just bring it with you. Like, I mean, what are we doing? Go and sit you down for the to an older sort of those industrial metal shelves lined up. There is a pretty basic computer rig set up, desktop computer, a few stacks of hard drives along the side, logs in with basic username and password, and then starts searching through, finds Fred's folder, and starts cycling back, sort of counting back to February 26th.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go nearest to when they said the time of this was.
Pulls up the dash cam footage, and it's pretty routine. You just see the front of the car driving around starts in daytime hours. Hayes kind of mentions, he's like, yeah, I think he said it happened sometime maybe around 8 or so. Push forward on the little buffer bar. And finally, you see that it's lots of rain coming down off the front of the dash cam. There's sort of minute sound. You just hear the normal of the windshield wipers going. You watch for a few minutes, nothing terribly eventful happening, until a point that you see the very outline of a figure beside the road. Empty highway, seems to be more on the outside of town, no buildings or anything in sight. You drive, headlights get a little closer, the figure comes more into view. It seems to be...
Is Hayes viewing this with us?
Yes.
Does he know where this is?
Yeah, that's out on some road that I can't improv off the cuff of my head. But he can identify the road that this is on.
Sure, County Road 28 or
Sure.
Sure, County Road 28. That sounds good. And so sees a figure that looks to be wearing a business suit, stumbling around on the side of the road. It is, I mean, Kelly would know, it is February in Montana at night, stumbling around through freezing rain. You can see the back of the head is showing a little bit more in the spotlight of the headlights, and then the rest of the suit is just plastered to him as he's stumbling. You hear some rummaging around inside as he gets closer to the figure stumbling down the shoulder of the road. This is Officer Jacob calling in to do a wellness check. Got a gentleman out here. It looks like he may have had a bit too much. Just going to go see what's going on. Dispatch, Roger's back. You hear the door open, and shortly you see a average height male wearing those sheriff's bomber's jackets, sort of pulls up the collar, walks out towards the guy. The audio is of pretty poor quality over the sound of both the windshield wipers and the rain coming over. Sort of, sir, stops him, turns him to the side. You can see the male looks white, balding, shorter than Jacob's, maybe 30s, 40s, very pale, maybe wearing glasses or something. He's just like, sir, do you know where you are? All right. I'll tell you what. You come on back with me. I have some emergency blankets, and we'll take you back. It's all right. You're not in any trouble at all. We're here to take care of you. And sort of grabs the man by the shoulder and starts leading him back to the car. Fred says, just hang on a minute. I'll be right back. Sort of hustles back. You hear some rummaging in the back seat, comes back with those foil emergency blankets, and brings it over the man's shoulders, and starts walking him to the car. At this point, you can see his face in slightly more detail. Again, it seems like there's glasses or something on the bridge of his nose, seems disheveled, very little hair plastered to his head. As they get a little closer, Jacob says, all right, so do you have any ID? It's like, I don't. ID? No ID. It's like, all right, sir, we're going to go. We'll take you in, bring you to the hospital, maybe get your stomach pumped. It'll all be okay. And the man says no. Jacob turns and he was just like, "It's okay, sir. It's okay." The man grabs Jacob's shoulder and says no, and vomits profusely all over the front of him without reaction, just standing and spewing in front. Jacobs reels back. "Jesus Christ. All right, sir, it's okay. It's okay. These things happen. It's all right. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna call an ambulance. They're gonna take care of you." And then you hear a voice clearly over the speakers as Jacob reaches for his radio and says, "Stop." And you see, despite the windshield wipers periodically going back and forth, Jacob stands in place with his hand precariously set over the radio. The man looks at him and says, "Forget about all this and let me go." Slowly turns and begins walking away. You can see pulls the blanket a little tighter. He walks outside the field of vision of these headlights. Jacob stands there for very long minutes, only punctuated by the windshield wipers, until finally he sort of stands right, shakes his head a little, walks back to the car, says, "Dispatch, it was nothing, just drifter threw up on me. They took off. I'm headed back into the office." Dispatch Rogers, door shuts, begins driving away.
Hayes, do you recognize that man at all? The one that just...
Hayes is a little dumbstruck at the moment. And he hits pause on the video and exhales for a long time, looks back to you. No. He didn't look familiar to me.
Let me ask you this. I know it happened a week ago. Has the car been cleaned? Is it in use?
Yeah, probably. I mean, just saying Drifter puked on him. I'm sure that they had it detailed by that time.
Where's the uniform and that coat that he was wearing during the time of this incident? Do you have that?
He would have changed out of that back at home. He showed up. Back here.
Do you get a lot of drifters in suits in this town?
First one I've seen.
We get a lot of people.
Can we get a still of the best image of that man's face so we can run it through the FBI database?
Yeah. He'll pull the screen back to the point whenever Jacobs is walking the man up close to the front of the car and gets a decent screenshot. It's pretty grainy, but he can get that to you.
And is there any like a role like it? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just saying, is there any role I can make to see if I can get a hit or like just like a yes or no? If this is like a known person.
So I won't even make you roll for it. It doesn't seem like anything like you don't recognize any looks about this man's face, but certainly you would be able to run it through FBI facial recognition and likely be able to get a hit off of that. It just may take a little bit of time.
Okay.
We can't.
Throttle, you were saying something?
No.
Well, hey, I
Theos?
appreciate you showing us this here. It helps a lot.
Hayes, would you excuse us for a few moments?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm gonna go get a
But
drink.
before you go, Hayes, what else is out there?
Nothing.
Like, what would somebody be doing just wandering around out there without a vehicle? Where would they be coming from? Where would they be going?
I mean, I know that road. That's on the outside of town. That's sort of if Jacob's making his beat was usually a loop that he could just circle through. That's on the outskirts of Helena. Like, there's nothing around there. He'd be walking for some miles before he found somewhere to get out of the rain.
So is that part of his beat?
Was that
Like, was that area part of Jacob's beat? Like he was supposed to be there, or?
Yes, this was regular on his beat.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Thotto, go ahead.
Did that person look like they were walking into town or walking out of town? In your best guess.
Sure. If I had to guess, that's walking away from town.
Okay, would you please excuse us for a few moments?
Yeah. Just let me know if y'all need anything. I'm gonna get a bottle of water.
Ooh, could you give me some coffee, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
He says absently, like as he just leaves. He's just walking out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
No sugar, no milk, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Jim, you're certainly perceptive enough to have noticed what happened.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The vagrant, who did not look like a vagrant, he was actually dressed more like a high-level professional. He told the deputy to stop, and the deputy stopped and stood there motionless as the guy walked away. I think this has just become a weird case. Did you also notice that Hayes had a very odd reaction, almost as if he was mentally confused?
Yes, he wasn't shocked or anything. He was dazed.
I think that we can't rule out, I know it's an old-fashioned notion, but there could be some form of hypnotism, mesmerism, suggestions planted in people's minds so that they remember or forget things that happen.
I wonder what would happen if you show this to another member of the sheriff's department. Not Potter, of course, but someone else.
I don't think we can do any experiments without looking really weird and suspicious. For all we know, we also reacted without realizing it. I think that we need to take this dash cam and do a little more scientific analysis of it, or a copy of it. Is there a way we can like download it onto a flash drive?
Absolutely. This is not a very high security setup. In fact, you could download it to a flash drive and delete the file while Hayes is out. That's not an issue.
I think we should download it onto a drive so we can take it with us. And then, I don't know, put in a little bit of static right at that one spot.
Does anyone have skills to...
Yeah. Do any of y'all have any comp sci?
Why don't we just take it? We're not being paid to be subtle. Just take it.
We don't want to leave any evidence. Well, if we make them suspicious, they'll start following us around, and we don't want them to do that.
I don't think we should be tampering with the evidence right now. I mean, they could notice that.
Well, and right now, this isn't anything they wouldn't have seen before, so...
Well, but here's an interesting question. Has anybody seen this footage? The impression we did was this reviewed. This happened a week ago. Did anybody
they had
else
no reason to
review this?
Right? They had no
I'm sure
reason
they did.
to, right?
Oh, why wouldn't they?
I have no idea. I don't know what the procedure is here.
It
Somebody
doesn't
walks
matter.
in and,
It doesn't matter if they saw the video or not. It matters if they can take the video and show it to people.
I think you're talking about two different things. You're worried about this leaking. Sounds like, Angela, you're worried about who else knows, if that makes sense. Like, is this a cover-up or is it something else?
yes.
If it was a cover-up, why would they show us?
Well, I don't think they have
Why
a
wouldn't
choice.
they erase it?
I don't have the skills for this, but I think if we could go to his residence and maybe find the coat that he was wearing, I'm sure one of you college-educated folks could maybe do an analysis on a sample of this
That's what I was hoping with the car, except that most likely his wife cleaned it.
It's possible, but I mean, a lot got on him there. I mean, there's got to be. I mean, that collar.
There might still be residue in the front seat of the car when he.
And
got
if the
in there.
wife cleaned it, maybe she has some residual trace if we think this is a contaminant.
No, it's gonna
only
be hard.
And my concern is she's pregnant.
So the child would be, good indicator.
Who's doing the actual file transfer of this dash cam from whatever this is on a server or something?
I mean, it's
Who's
just
doing that?
computer science. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just.
I mean, I know Control C, Control V, so
I understand. So
this
who's doing
is-
it?
I'll
Which
do
one
it.
of us
I
is
brought
doing
it
it?
up.
Yeah.
I will actually, so I will ask whoever has the highest comp psi, you can just make me an idea roll, borrowing a little from Call of Cthulhu.
I've got 25.
I have 10.
Do
so
it.
yeah.
Yeah, just roll against your int.
Where is my int? Oh yeah. $99. I erased both tapes in the process.
I won't say that, but what I
And
will
watch
say,
porn.
while you are saying like, oh, of course, I know how to Control C, Control V, you do the thing where you right click the file onto your flash drive and then select move here and completely think that you hit copy. And you just say, all right, that's it. It's done.
All right, that's it. It's done.
All right, delete the original.
Oh, I don't know about that.
We just need to delete that little spot.
Yeah, but that involves digital editing, and that's a way different thing than just deleting a file.
Well, we can just say, oops,
Look,
and
you know
we can
what?
delete the whole thing.
Let's not bring attention to it until we need to. We could come back later. We have a copy.
They don't seem to be concerned about mind control vomit people yet. So let's not give them a reason to.
And at the very least, it turns into some sort of weird conspiracy that nobody believes anyway.
Yeah, it could be doctored as a video.
Sure,
I think if we can get,
sure. Then leave the video. Sure.
Right.
if we can get a sample of that stuff, like I was saying before, those velvet collars would. I mean, you could clean that all day and all night till you're blue in the face, but getting all that out of those little fibers, there's got to be something in there.
But we'll need a lab.
It sounds like
But Doc,
experienced.
would throwing up a bunch of heavy metals onto somebody on their clothing cause it to somehow be absorbed? That seems ridiculous. I mean, he'd have to take a glass of it and drink it.
Agent Chaos, I'm going to ask you point blank here. You're with the
Kios.
program, right?
Yeah.
Kios,
Yeah.
you're with the program, right?
Right.
Okay. So there's something weird going on. Let's
Right.
not look for a normal explanation.
No.
This isn't
We're
normal.
looking for reasons to eliminate explanations. We can't say that the blue fairy showed up and did it on the other side of the truck while this, we need to, could you introduce?
No. We don't need to solve it for anybody else except us.
Right, but I'm only asking us.
Let's just before we draw any conclusions, let's keep sniffing out clues.
Okay.
I was thinking whatever, like he brought this back in. Like everyone who we've talked to interacted with him at some point after the incident. Why don't we talk to someone who hasn't interacted with him? Why don't we talk to one of the people in the cells?
We don't know
What
that they've
would that
been
get
here
us?
for a week. They've probably only been here for a day or so.
Exactly. And I guarantee they don't want to be here for another week.
What would you ask them, Agent?
Yeah, and what are you thinking? Explain why we would want to do that, please.
Because I'm sure they see things that maybe the cops don't want to tell us.
Yeah,
And do you
can't
think
trust them.
maybe are you suggesting that Jacob somehow contaminated his fellows?
I mean,
No, his desk, his seat, his chair in his room. Obviously, he came in with vomit all over him.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking
His carpet.
I think I agree with Hotline over there, Highline, that there will be plenty of samples in his coat. All we need is his jacket. I'm sure we can get samples of that vomit from the jacket.
If we can get that, and then even I'd like to go to the scene of where this happened exactly. I'm sure that we can narrow it down by the last mile marker that we saw him pass in the footage.
Yeah.
See if there's something there.
Yeah. We need to talk to the coroner. We need to talk to his wife.
Need to see the body.
We need to see the body. So which one? And Bagman here suggests that we talk to somebody peripheral that maybe didn't have personal contact with Jacob. Now, I don't know how we're going to interview somebody in a cell, but we're the FBI. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Why don't we find out who he has had interaction with, let's say in the last month, as far as people he's brought in, people he's locked up, people like that. It's all going to be in the records. And then see if there's any of them here.
Like he's had,
30,000 isn't exactly a small town, but
I think the thing to consider, to Bagman's point, is the only reason we would talk to people in the cell is if the cops are acting weird compared to when, before this incident. Because if these, riffraffs are constantly being brought in and on bail and brought in and on bail, then they would be your baseline. Is that we're looking for, Bagman?
Well, yeah, because you bring them in and they get out. Someone's paying their bail.
Yep.
And I'm thinking that whatever they're being brought in for is so petty that it's probably a waste of time. Now, when it comes to the guy we saw coming in, I believe we could leverage him to speak to us. Because I'm sure if we look through his file, I'm pretty sure I can figure out something that I can use to give him a federal hate crime charge. And I'm sure he doesn't want to deal with that.
You mean the guy that was being dragged in here when we came here?
Yeah. I don't want him. I want what he knows.
And you think he can tell us two things: one, who is paying all the bail, and two, if the cops have been weird. That's what you're looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
That would only
go ahead.
if he's been booked by Jacob before.
Or he's been here multiple times, and in general, the cops have been acting unusual, or the sheriffs rather.
I imagine a lot of the criminals have been in and out of here a lot, and they're locals.
Yeah, and I don't want to stymie this mode of operation, but I do want to say we're not here to figure out the gangbanger scene.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out.
If there's a connection, there's a connection.
I guess I'm more. Oh, go ahead.
Did the guy that threw up on the cop look like a gangbanger to any of you?
No, he looked like, if I was going to put together man in a suit who wasn't freezing to death somehow in the middle of February and wears glasses and seems to have some sort of ability, I would be looking for rich scientist, occultist, somebody in that lane, not a gangbanger,
but would it be someone that, to Sheriff Potter's point, someone that is worth knowing?
Probably, if you're in the right circle. We should look into the occult aspect. We should look into rich scientists with secret labs that might accidentally get heavy metal poisoning from what they're fiddling with.
So it sounds like Bagman. Go ahead, Angela. Yep.
We can do all those things. But I'm just saying that we've got some very obvious things to do. I suggest we do the very obvious things.
Well, we can't do some of those until tomorrow.
Patrick's got to stretch his legs, and he's going to say, keep following that thought there. I'm going to go check out, I'm going to go look in Jacob's desk, see what he was working on. He's got a log. He wrote anything about this. Kind of go
see if he's got any enemies in town. Yeah.
Kind of what was the last few things that came across his desk.
Sure, go ahead. Can you? I would say roll me search, but at this point, like, there's no stress, there's no reason for failure or anything. You can buzz through, and frankly, he could have been one of your coworkers. That nothing is really striking you too much out of the ordinary. He is, yeah. There's no big cases that he's really talking about. He mentions from the desk calendar, it's mostly related to personal stuff. You can look through just his files, running through a lot of paperwork for things, typical bringing in drunk and disorderly, drunk driving, domestic disputes, violence conducts. You do see a couple of references to, he makes some notes for probably Sons of Freedom on a couple of the drunk and disorderly arrests that he's doing. One entry that does stand out is a vandalism of a local church.
Okay. Is there any notes on there?
Another note that says probably Sons of Freedom.
Okay. This seems to be a recurring theme here. Small time group causing trouble. All right. I'm going to return to the group in the evidence room and say, I went through his desk. It seemed fairly routine. There was a couple mentions of this Sons of Freedom group. So that guy that Hayes just booked, I'd imagine that he might have some tie-ins with them. But really where my mind is sitting is I'd really like to go out to the scene of where this dash cam footage was and then go talk to his wife.
It looked pretty remote, pretty no real landmarks around it. But like you said, the mile marker might give you at least, a mile of road.
Yeah, and I'm sure that
did it look like the guy was standing on the side of the road or that he was coming out of the woods?
It was pretty wide open from what you could see. He was just walking along the shoulder of the road. But as he was pulling up, you did see the, mile marker sign and also just the county road sign. I think we said County Road 28 as Jacobs was driving up before he encountered the man.
So hear me out. This is, outside of town in this county, this is still cattle country. So if we know the last mile marker post that he passed, say it's mile marker 47, all we got to do is count the sections of fence that he passed before he stopped. Then we know where he was.
Yeah, where he got in the camera, right?
Well, he'd be driving along, we'd see a mile marker post, and then
right.
We're going to go frame by frame and just count how many sections of,
sure.
Well, don't the cars have GPS? Can we just look back at that date and time where the police
did they record their
was?
GPS?
I don't know.
Let's just say, yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. I don't think
That
we're going
seems
to have
plausible.
a problem finding it. Yeah, we're not going to have a problem finding the location. If we want to go do that, let's go do it. Is there anything we want to do with the police station before we leave it tonight?
I don't think so. We can always come back tomorrow. It's not like
I think we can
back.
let that guy stew for the evening too.
I think we've poked around here enough.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to go out to that site in the nighttime.
We could Walmart.
We just won't be able to see anything.
Walmart.
True. We could stop by the site of the incident first thing in the morning and then
because we could find evidence of heavy metals around that area. If we could find the exact spot where he vomited on him, and the vomit or the gravel on the side of the road suddenly has a high level of metals, we can assume then that the vomit had the heavy metals in it.
Well, watching that video, there was quite a bit coming out of that guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something we could gather right there in the dirt.
Well, I wonder if a metal detector would detect it.
probably.
You buy one. I got to get a coat.
I would also be careful where you eat while we're here and drink.
So we've got the site of the incident, and then I'd like to get our hands on this coat so we could visit his home and talk to Christina and just kind of
we can
explain what we're looking for and ask.
split up tomorrow. We can go, some of us can go visit the wife. Some of us can go to the coroner's office.
Right. So for tonight, Walmart, Waffle House.
All right.
That sounds like a Montana Friday.
If you can't trust Waffle House, you can't trust anyone.
That is such a true statement.
Then God help us all. All right. Y'all can do a shopping trip to Walmart, get some Waffle House,
Get
settle
bottled water.
into your nice, creaky La Quinta beds.
Can we buy? I have cash.
Right. We
Angela
all have
traveled.
cash.
Right.
We all have cash. Can you still buy shotguns at Walmart?
Oh yeah.
In Montana,
Well, in 2017, definitely, yeah.
they may have a weight limit. I'm not sure.
They hand them out
I
at the
can only
front
buy
door.
500 pounds of them.
Yeah. It's in some states, I know that they have you need to sort of sign up for it and then show back up after a day or so, that it's more in name only. But based on Texas, I'm going to say Montana is just North Texas. And you can absolutely buy a shotgun
he's shaking
and
his
some
head.
20 gauge. Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah. So this is America. This is Montana. This is super America. You can get a shotgun.
Sure.
You can get
So
two if you
if
really
we can
feel like
buy-
it.
I would think it'd be harder to buy a metal detector, but if we can find a metal detector,
People have hobbies. They love metal detection. So
okay, let's get some.
it's not going to be. It's
detector.
not going to be a $500 one. It's going to be a.
I'm going to get
$100
some.
one.
I'm going to get some clothes, winter clothes, so that because if we're going to be outside, I want to be prepared for that. We're going to buy 2 or 3 shotguns.
Yep.
And go back to our hotel.
They have Christmas trees on sale in March.
And just to add in a little bit here, so when you do buy a gun in a store, they run you a quick background check, but they have to destroy those records. So there's no registration of any of this stuff. So.
And that counts for even because in New York, there's just different laws for different types of firearms. A shotgun, like you can buy a shotgun like you can buy groceries.
Yeah. In Texas, 100%. So I'm extrapolating a lot of that up to Montana, that they may ask you to fill out and do ID and whatnot. But if you have an ounce of bureaucracy or law, you would know that those records don't ever go anywhere. It's largely just sort of lip service.
Sure.
Well, they have to, after a short period of time, destroy them.
Mhm.
Sure.
I'm going to get a box of Ziploc bags, little ones, to put
Oh yeah,
stuff in.
all of that stuff you would normally need in an operation.
Rubber gloves, yeah, all of those sort
Yeah.
of things.
Yep,
Some
all those
ties,
sorts of things. Surgical masks. Can you get those at Walmart? Well, you know what you can get is like the painter things. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of what the world was like pre-pandemic, but you can go get like N90,
can get 'em at-
buy N95s.
Yeah, you could
get them at-
absolutely get
Paint
like
department.
painter's equipment. That's a great idea
You
there.
can even get toilet paper there. Sorry, pandemic joke.
Calcium pills.
Sure.
Calcium pills.
It's for heavy metal poisoning. It binds the heavy metal so your body can actually pass it.
That's really smart. Yeah, we'll all get some of those.
I mean, the amount was in his body. I don't think a calcium pill is going to help, but
He wouldn't
Some
need a
other-
calcium pill so
Yeah.
much as those big blocks you get to cows.
yeah.
No, there's a lot of weird stuff going on already, right?
Well,
We
so
all
far-
see that.
so far, the only point of odd contact in the whole thing is the vomit. And if the vomit has a high concentration, if we find any residue and it has a high concentration of heavy metals, then obviously whatever this is just has to get on your skin and
Mhm.
you're kind of fucked. So,
right, but someone else touches clothes and stuff like that. Like the wife should be impacted already if that's the
she
case.
could be. Yeah. There could be more people.
And her
We
child.
could have other people
Right,
tested.
the baby, yeah.
So you'll get gloves. Because if this incident of him getting vomited on did transmit something to him, I didn't see it. I didn't see him ingest anything. It could be something that can go right through your skin.
Well, how good was that detail though? Did any of the vomit get inside of his mouth or his nose?
Or his
Maybe
eye.
just here.
It was mostly from chest down, I
And
would
his-
say. At least
and
that's
his
what you could
hands.
see from the video.
Right.
So when you examine him, you want to see if there's odd discoloration in his hands. Has it turned gray because of arsenic poisoning? You said arsenic. That the tips of his tongue would be black, the tips of his fingers would be black if he came into physical contact with it.
Sure.
And then we got to find
all
out
that
the
out.
crazy
Talk to the coroner.
the crazy mad scientist who walks around at 40 below zero in the freezing rain. And
But we can get a printout of this picture. We can ask people in town if they recognize who this is. And jeepers, we could have asked the sheriff, but
well, be careful about that, because we don't necessarily want anybody else doing any kind of investigation, especially if we're getting into the weird stuff.
Right. I mean, the Bureau has a database. They could just face recognition too, I think.
First,
Well, what about the EPA? Because they've already investigated, they've already taken samples, and we were told that we could push our jurisdiction, like, environmental hazard, terrorism, we win. So we can take that and we can use what they found. Because they probably have better equipment.
Yeah, we have their names. We can get access to their files. Exactly. Yeah. Are you thinking their labs even? Like they may have a mobile lab, you're thinking?
They have more than us. That's what you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they have more than we do.
Yeah.
Let's not treat them too harshly at first, because they might be helpful.
They could become friendlies.
usually there's a place where you can send samples of things, like a laboratory that's their main business. Like if you're
Sure.
running,
If there's a hospital around, then there's
Or
one to
urine
be something
tests,
like
yeah.
that.
yeah, or even like there's places where they send water samples to when they're setting up water systems to make sure that there's no coliforms and things in there.
Ideally, though, we would like to figure it all out and then erase all that evidence, all that information.
So it sounds like for tonight, or at least between the sessions, we'll be running different scans, trying to access the EPA files and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
We can do that from our hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for tonight, we've got some reservations at Waffle House, folks.
Yeah.
This is true.
Patrick's got a good point that there should be probably agricultural stations out here somewhere too that can do chemical testing, soil and chemical testing. Yeah. All right. Waffle House it is.
Man, now I want Waffle House.
I hope they have pancakes.
And on that note, I think this will be a nice, warm, happy, comfortable moment to leave this scenario on tonight. March
last
7th,
one we'll ever have.
2017.
Our players included Matt Ryan, Dan DePolis, Billy Chung, Joseph Clay, and myself with Lex Hurley as the handler. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft, a Delta Green role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.